conservative PragerU benefiting financially from Donald Trump's PBS cut? Of course they are. Here it is.
So we all knew this day was coming. It is officially here. Today, the White House has announced that they are partnering with Prager University and considering replacing PBS with Prager University children's content. This is a screenshot from the lesson on slavery. This is Frederick Douglass saying, "I'm certainly not okay with slavery, but the founding fathers made a compromise." This is from their lesson on Christopher Columbus. And if you Google Dennis Prager himself, most likely this will come up, where he actually said this loud, that there's no secular argument against adult incest.
So the federal government has defunded PBS, and guess who the White House is cozying up to instead? PragerU. And hate to be the bearer of bad news, but their videos may already be in your kid's classroom. The Corporation for Public Broadcasting announced that it's shutting down after Congress yanked over $500 million in federal funding, which means PBS and NPR are in trouble. Meanwhile, at a White House event, Linda McMahon rolled out a new education partner, PragerU. This is a conservative content group that makes short-form videos that are climate denialist, Islamophobic, and misleading about slavery, among other things.
I can't believe they cut funding to PBS Kids for this PragerU.
Yeah, but what about slavery? You didn't deny that.
Deny? No. Slavery is as old as time and has taken place in every corner of the world, even amongst the people I just left. Being taken as a slave is better than being killed, no? I don't see the...
Slavery is better than death. They're going to put state propaganda to kids about this bull. They continue to try to diminish what they did during slavery. Slavery and indentured servitude are two totally different things.
Slavery is better than death. Well, they killed slaves too. So there's that part. Put it up full mass. Here we go. In July, Trump asked lawmakers to rescind roughly $1.1 billion from Corporation for Public Broadcasting. One organization is said to benefit from Trump's, let's call it cut, conservative outlet PragerU. So Dennis Prager has admitted his goal is to, quote, indoctrinate children with right-wing ideology. The organization, which has faced backlash for downplaying racism, downplaying racist atrocities like slavery and the slaughter of indigenous people, they have not hidden their desire to overtake PBS as a provider of children's content. Quote, arming parents and educators with pro-America content they are craving. We are going toe-to-toe with massive youth media companies like PBS Kids and Disney, PragerU said in its 2022 annual report. So what is PragerU doing? Well, they are a propaganda machine. They are providing propaganda that is significantly misleading, but disguised as historical context. Now, why do they want to do this? Well, in order for them to not be judged for their atrocities that they've committed today, in order for them to not be judged for the economic, educational atrocities of policies they have championed today, they must lie to their children about who they are. They must lie to their children about what America is. And this lie has to be so persuasive that even the very historical foundation of America must be manipulated for the lie to work. And that is what they're doing. So now PragerU has entered into a partnership. PragerU has already entered partnerships with states to produce educational material. Oklahoma's far-right school superintendent, Ron Walters, even announced this month that his state will use a new ideology test from PragerU for certification of teachers who come from states with what he called progressive education policies. something he said is necessary to protect students from radical leftist ideology. So if your state happens to have a Democratic governor, or maybe if you happen to be just black, there's a special test that you have to take to ensure that you are a team player. There's more. The Trump administration has partnered with the platform on a, quote, founders museum. This is an exhibit in the White House for visitors. As tech outlet 404 Media explained, the attraction comes complete with digital assets like this AI sloppified version of John Adams, who was made to regurgitate a saying popularized by right-wing influencer and PragerU contributor Ben Shapiro. As 404 noted, the White House videos conclude with a disclaimer that says, quote, this partnership does not constitute or imply U.S. government or U.S. Department of Education endorsement of PragerU. TYT's hold, Brett Early, shared an interesting theory on why Trump is going after PBS during his garbage person of the week on the Damage Report. Here it is.
Brett, who is your garbage person of the week?
Well, let me tell you. We may now know exactly why Donald Trump is targeting for cancellation one of the most beloved mainstays of American culture. And like so many grudges he keeps, it turns out it's wildly personal. And his skin just wasn't thick enough to take a joke. Who am I talking about? Well, let's look at this tweet. Donald Trump, I guess on True Social, says, it is very important that all Republicans adhere to my rescission bill and in particular defund the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, PBS and NPR, which is worse than CNN and MSDNC together. I will explain in a second why he's targeting them. He says any Republican that votes to allow this monstrosity known as Sesame Street to continue broadcasting will not have my support or endorsement. Thank you for your attention to this matter. This guy hates Sesame Street so much. A bill to cancel $1.1 billion over 2 years for PBS, NPR, and its affiliates has passed the House and has to be voted on by July 18th in order to pass. So they've got about a week to do it. And Donald Trump says NPR and PBS are a radical left disaster, 1000% against the Republican Party. Now, why is he garbage? Because this is an insanely personal grudge he has against literally Sesame Street. That's right. The beloved Muppets got under his skin with this. A couple times on Sesame Street. This is episode 2399, which I believe is from, I want to say like 2005. They had the character Donald Grump.
Donald Grump. He's too petty to laugh at himself. He's too small to be okay with a joke here and there at his expense. So this man is literally transforming federal or national public education material, vendors, contractors, because he didn't like a joke told on Sesame Street. There you have it. Your president of the United States making America great again. All right, dear brother, thoughts here.
I mean, I grew up with a lot of these talking points that PragerU likes to animate with their adorable cartoons constantly. So I think one of the reasons that they're so gung-ho for this is because it is highly effective. I mean, I remember growing up and reading about how enslaved people actually liked it. And all of these tropes that they kind of wheel out whenever something like this is happening. It's kind of shocking that they haven't come out with like new, different talking points at this point. But I guess, hey, if it works, why fix it? But the only reason I don't buy into a lot of this stuff anymore is A, because I was curious enough to find new sources, and B, was economically privileged enough to be able to do so. So I think when you have something like PBS getting defunded, it's going to have a ripple effect, especially in rural areas where they do not have access to these perspectives and they don't have access to actual scholarship that's going on historically. And it's working. I mean, the whole Project 2025 thing is just going gangbusters for these folks. And I didn't expect it to be so quick. And it is a little sad, and I hope somebody puts a stop to it. But hopefully, people can start getting curious and reach out independently to different sources because they are out there. And I hate the idea that we're going to have a generation of kids who are going to grow up with this sort of, milk toast whitewashed version of history because the people in charge don't want to get their feelings hurt.
Yep, and that's why we have to do more in order to make sure that these independent opportunities for education. If you have a civil rights museum or even a human rights museum in your community, protect it, fund it, participate with it, make sure truth remains alive.